going through the jungle, and there's my dog. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, BJ Mambo. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the brand new Amazon original film coming to America. Just want to give you a heads up, this is a spoiler review. I'm going to be kind of going through the whole movie briefly, quickly. So let's spoil. So the movie opens up kind of how the original did, with a wide helicopter shot going through the jungle, coming up to the palace. But this time I think it's all CGI, which is already kind of showing this movie's of its time. Then we see Eddie Murphy and his wife wake up in bed. We meet the family, 3 girls, maybe 18, 13, 7, let's say. I'm not really sure how old they are, but you meet the family. Seem like a nice family. You find out it's the 30th anniversary of the marriage, which I know it's been a little bit over 30 years since the movie, but 30 is a nice number, so let's stick with that. The opening credits keep going on, and outside, I guess right outside the temple, or at least in the town, there's a McDowell's, which is already a callback from the first one. So it was nice seeing that. It was funny they have one in Africa now, which was funny. Then you go inside the McDowell's and you see the father, Louis Anderson, is back. It was kind of an unexpected treat seeing him. But yeah, the movie was off to a good start. We were laughing, pretty consistently. And this is all the opening credits, all these sequences, meeting these characters, re-meeting these characters again. Then it shows Eddie Murphy and his daughter's training. I'm not sure what that stick training is from the beginning, but they're doing training, so you know this is coming back at some point in the movie. But it was cool. They're all sitting there doing a choreographed thing, all the daughters, the dad, which I think is cool. I think about from a filming standpoint, all these actors had to train, had to, get in shape to do this stuff. I think it's awesome, especially the little, have this little kid doing it. It's hilarious, super cute. Then you meet Wesley Snipes. He shows up with his army of people, and I kind of dipped away a little bit. I couldn't really get too down with the Wesley Snipes character. He was kind of silly, kind of corny. I get what they were trying to do, but I don't think he was really pulling it off too well, or maybe it was just coming off too corny. So Eddie Murphy and him, he's another king of some sorts, and they want to join families. He wants Eddie Murphy's daughter to marry his son, which his son was funny. I laughed a couple times with his son. The dog barking lady's back, the same actress, which is awesome. And this is one thing this movie is great at, is all the callbacks and bringing back characters, and I really like that. Then you go back and see James Earl Jones. He's in his bed, almost deathbed. Obviously he is old, but super old. He's talking to Eddie Murphy. That scene was funny. So I think it got back after Wesley Snipes left. James Earl Jones, that scene I thought was funny. And then I think it was Arsenio Hall in prosthetics. This old man, I'm not even sure what, but this old man comes up and talks about Eddie Murphy's son. They bring up his son, so the plot kind of kicks in. And then you cut to a flashback, which that was cool. I didn't mind the flashbacks. It was funny seeing them. Everyone's, obviously younger and showing some clips from the first one. And then they do some good old de-aging stuff going on, which I was wondering if they were going to do this. And they do. So they show Eddie Murphy meeting Leslie Jones and going back and hooking up. And she, he finds out that he got her pregnant. So he does have a son out there. Then you cut to the funeral scene. James Earl Jones says, "I want to have my funeral before I die." Which is not a bad idea when you think about it. But he had this big funeral, and the funeral scene was awesome. He had so many cameos, a lot of cameos in this movie, but he had Morgan Freeman up there talking, Salt and Pepper came, performed, and Vogue came and performed. So he had this big kind of epic ceremony with some dance sequences and music sequences, and then James Earl Jones dies, which is sad. And watching it, I thought, was that necessary? But it's like, well, I guess Eddie Murphy is king now, so that was part of it, so it makes sense, but it was still sad. So now we cut to America, and you meet the son. He's with Tracy Morgan, who's playing his uncle. I thought his jokes were kind of falling flat a little bit. I love Tracy Morgan. I'm a fan, always been a fan. But it did seem, in my opinion, that a lot of his stuff was falling flat. So now Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall are in America, and they go to the barbershop, and you get all the barbershop guys. I'm not sure the names, but obviously it's Eddie Murphy and Arsenio in makeup doing these characters and looking the same, which was funny because it is prosthetics, and it's like, yeah, they would look the same. And also, it's like, how old are these guys now? They're supposed to be, in their 70s, 80s in the first one. It's just, so that was kind of funny. So Eddie Murphy shows a sketch drawing of his son, and the barbershop said, "Oh, we've seen this guy. He's scalping tickets down at the stadium." So Eddie Murphy sees him. He goes up. I'm your son. Oh, okay. They go back to his house, his apartment. And you see Leslie Jones again. Tracy Morgan's there. The rest of the family's there. And he shows up and says, hey, I'm a prince. You know, Leslie Jones said, oh, I knew you'd be back. You know, she was funny. I thought Leslie Jones was funny in this movie. So they I'm your father, I'm your son, he's the mother, he's the then. Let's go back to Africa. So it's another form of ceremony, and Wesley Snipes shows back up with his gang, this time with his daughter. And then there's this big dance sequence, singing sequence, and then the son, soon to be prince, I should probably know the character's name, but he starts singing. So it was a little bit of a musical number, which the original one had, so it was kind of expected, but I remember even thinking of the original that some of those sequences were going on for too long, and I was like, okay, now they're singing and doing this, and it's like, alright, but whatever, it's cool. So the son's, of course, real into Wesley Snipes' daughter, and their arranged marriage is what they're trying to set up, so their families could join. Even though you know Snipes is up to no good, and Eddie Murphy's just, let's do it. And also while this is going on, the soon-to-be prince, he starts talking and forming a relationship with the barber. Some of the scenes with the son, you know, these dramatic scenes where like, oh, there was a time when, you know, it starts getting kind of melodramatic, a little bit corny, takes away from the movie. And I think it is definitely a weaker part of the movie. You know, you got Eddie Murphy training his son, trying to make him more like a prince, more, you know, respectable. And then Tracy Morgan shows up and said, let's change the style. Let's switch it up. Let's make it more cool. And then so he sort of kind of started training Eddie Murphy how to walk cooler and be cooler instead of being so, you know. You get some more flashbacks. They got Sam Jackson in there. I was wondering if they're going to show a flashback. He played he was a robber. He came with a shotgun and at the McDowell's, and if you guys remember from the original, before he was Sam Jackson. So they threw him in there, which is cool. And I also like that they're doing these flashbacks because then, you know, and especially Coming to America is also on Amazon Prime. I'm going to assume people are going to watch this and then tune into that one, or vice versa, which I should have done. I should have rewatched the first one, to be honest, but I will now. You know, the love relationship keeps forming with the son and the barber, and so you know where this is going. So now you're at the big arranged wedding scene, which, again, to kind of make his character more corny, the son comes out with this crown, which looks way too big for his head, and it's kind of tilted, I want to say, and it looked really corny, man. He looked like a little kid. I mean, that's what we kept saying. And then Eddie Murphy and Wesley Snipes are talking, and you found this boy to marry and form us family so we get more money, blah, 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 and he overhears it, he gets pissed, and he bails. He gets the barber, says, let's get the F out of here. Let's go back to America. Grabs Leslie Jones, Tracy, you know, grabs everyone. Let's get out of there. Which conveniently, they just, like, got out of there. Like, I was thinking, like, they could probably catch them before they get to the airport, so I don't really, maybe a little bit of a plot hole there. Now they're back in America, and the prince and the barber, let's get married. Let's get hitched. Which again, it's like, didn't you like just meet her too? You know, I always find that funny in movies when it's like so quick, but hey, it's love, baby. You got the Reverend coming out, Arsenio Hall Reverend character. I was wondering when he was coming, so he comes up. And that was funny. Again, I like when they do the characters. Definitely a positive about this movie. So then Eddie Murphy shows up. He says, look, you're right. I was just like you. I fell in love with this girl. I was supposed to be arranged. Like again, the remake aspect of it kind of starts dipping in, and he says, okay, marry her. You know, and then she says, let's have a big wedding. This isn't right. So, okay, they're gonna have a big wedding. While this is going on, Wesley Snipes shows back up and says, where's Eddie Murphy and his son? We're supposed to get married, blah, blah, blah. I told you if this wasn't gonna happen, you know, we were gonna bring a war. So they show up, and now we get the fight sequence with the girls with the sticks. Like, you knew it was coming. I know they're probably not called sticks, but you knew it was coming. Again, kind of predictable. You know, they come up, they kind of tackle down the main daughter, the oldest daughter, and Arsenio Hall and the two girls come, and they kick some ass. Again, which is cool, and I think it's fun. They have kids doing it, which is fun. I respect, you know, them putting the time into it. But again, it was also kind of predictable a little bit. And then Wesley Snipes just kind of gives up and says, okay, you're right. And then he's not really bad anymore after that. So it's like, okay. So now we're back in Africa. A second wedding, this time with the barber that he loves. Wesley Snipes is there. I guess they're all friends now, so everybody wins. So that's always kind of nice, positive. What, the sexual chocolates? Is that what they're called, I think? Something in the sexual chocolates. But he comes out, prosthetics, and he starts singing at the ceremony, which is cool. They had a little bit, you know, they're saying, oh, someone big's coming out. Who is it? They start naming these famous people, and then he shows up, and it's like, here he comes. You knew he was coming. In the original, if you guys have seen it, you know, there's the very last line of the movie, they're at this huge ceremony, and Eddie Murphy says, you know, we could put this all away and go back to America. And then, you know, she goes, nah, which is funny. And they redo that. They have them saying nah, which, okay, another callback. I get it. And then that basically, I guess, wraps up the movie. I kind of wish they did. I don't know the term. I know John Landis, the original director of the first one, is known for doing this in his movies, doing the character title cards. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's when you show the picture and you see the name below it. You know, John Landis does it in I think every one of his movies. And I kind of wish they did that again. You know, because then you could see how many people Eddie Murphy played, how many people Arsenio Hall played, like, and that, you know, they should have done that. I think that was a mistake. Because the outtakes they had in there, I don't think was even that funny. I think it would have been more rewarding getting those cues, all the callbacks, the flashbacks, the de-aging. That was fun. Seeing all the same characters again. I wish they did more Soul Glow stuff. There wasn't really, you heard it at some point, but they should have had something. If it was rated R, could have been better. I mean, probably not. Maybe they would have had some more raunchy stuff or some nudity or something, but I don't think it would have helped their lesson. So it was okay. It was PG-13. But yeah, overall, kind of predictable. You know, I said maybe like between Wesley Snipes, Tracy Morgan, and the Prince, the son. I personally think those were the characters that kind of fell flat. There was a nice sequence between Eddie Murphy and his wife's dad. They had in the back of McDowell's. He's mopping. Eddie Murphy's mopping. That was a nice sequence. Everything with like Eddie Murphy and those guys, I thought was pretty good. I wish there was more of that. I feel like you're really with the son the whole time. You know, he had the lion sequence, which was cool. But yeah, I mean, a little bit melodramatic, predictable. It was watchable. Definitely watchable. Would I watch it again? I don't see why. You know, like you said, if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch the original. You know, you go into a comedy. I was watching it, we're watching it, and we said, well, let's see, either we're going to laugh or we're going to not. I didn't really have any expectations going into this. I was expecting it to probably be average or maybe not that good or, I didn't know what to expect. But it wasn't bad. I mean, we laughed enough that, it wasn't like there was 20, 30 minutes of, no laughing. What do you guys think? I would love to hear what everyone else thinks about this. Do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you love this movie? Do you love the Wesley Snipes and the Tracy Morgans? Do you love those scenes? I would love to hear it. Please comment below. Also, I post weekly, so feel free to come back, like, subscribe. And I guess that about wraps it up. So let's get on out of here. Thanks for watching.